The Edgar Winter Group, Free Ride. Pretty sure I don't have to name all these songs. Most people in the greenhouse that frequent the Psychedelic Sunday portion of the weekend shows, they already know where this music comes from. I don't need to name all the songs. But if you do perhaps want to know the name of some of the songs, you can ask anybody in the greenhouse and no one judges. You don't get demerit points for not knowing the song. And all those songs that we just heard, except for maybe one, was handpicked by our guest, who we're going to get to, and her name is Lisa, and she's a long-time listener, whatever that means. The show's not really that old, but she's been there since the beginning, let's say that. And we've talked, as I do with... There's a bunch of people in the greenhouse that I've actually had voice-to-voice conversations with, and I like to do that, and I'm open to doing that with almost anybody, at least in the greenhouse. And we got to talking about some stuff that, I mean, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, every single person that I talk to, there's always something interesting about what they know or what they do or how they think, and at the same time, they always have the same taste in music, which is really, really cool. So, and I also think you can tell a lot about somebody's personality by the music they like to listen to. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, and you picked up on that, what I would say about Lisa before I bring her on is that just based on the songs that she picked, I don't think she has a problem seeing through a lot of BS, and she doesn't like to stand for it. And it's somebody who probably likes to be a little bit rebellious, maybe at times. And we'll just figure out how badass she is, seriously, when we talk to her. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to give her a call. And I'm so happy that she agreed to come on. By the way, I ask people to come on this show. It's not like, there's tons of people coming around asking me to be on the show. Usually after I get to know somebody outside of the show, there's something that happens where it's super interesting that I don't know a lot about. And yeah, okay, fine, you could go look it up on YouTube or ask ChatGPT. And that's also what I did for some of this stuff. But it's better to hear it from a person who's actually done it, in my opinion. And I don't know. I just think that that this will be. I can't wait to talk to her. So I'm just gonna call her now. Let's see if this works. Everything was working fine a minute ago. Let's see, a little bit of a delay. That's fine. That's normal. It sounds like the chime when you know it's time to turn the page.
Hello?
Hello. Lisa.
Yes, how are you, Paul?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. I'm so glad that we got to talk on the show. First of all, I got to tell you, you got really good taste in music.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to ask also, are you one of those people that sort of like to communicate with music? Like, did you specifically pick those songs because you like them, or did you pick them because you think they represent part of your personality?
I believe that they do represent a portion of my personality. So yes, I've listened to this style music since I was 12, 13 years old, and I just continue to this very day to listen to this music. It's just something about the certain tunes from the 60s and 70s,
Yeah, and that's why I think, because we talked off air about having you on the show, and the question was, well, do you want to come on Saturday or Sunday? And I think it was your idea to come on a Sunday because you have a personal connection with this genre of music, and so it would probably fit in better there. And I got to agree with you. That first half hour of music they're some of my favorite songs too. So, and I grew up also listening to that music, even though I'm a little bit younger than you. My parents were always listening to this music, but since like I was 4 or 5. So
Yes.
it's really it's just another sort of nod to the people that like the same kind of music. They're often interested in the same kinds of things. Yeah.
I do agree with you there. Yes.
What do you think's going on there? Do you have a theory about that? Like, because it can also be like a game changer if you think you're getting along with somebody and then they don't like the same kind of music as you. It can be like, never mind.
But sometimes if they listen to it, certain songs from different, certain artists, I have found that they actually do tend to like it.
So yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. It's a fascinating thing for me. I always find that whenever I want to talk to somebody at length about things, they usually have the similar taste in music, no matter what genre it's from. I like a lot of different genres. Clearly, you listen to the Saturday shows. But what? Okay, let's get into why I wanted to talk to you on in the greenhouse, because you live in Alabama. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a completely different, almost an alien environment for me, because I live way north in Ontario, and there's things that you have to deal with when you live in different geographies that I would never imagine dealing with. And I mean, you've dealt with some of these, and not only dealt with them, but turned it into something that you can actually use. And this might sound weird for anybody listening to the greenhouse for the first time, because I don't normally talk about things kind of like, I guess you could say, graphic. But I do like to mention prepping things once in a while, and people that are self-sufficient and can take what the land gives them and turn them into something that's useful or even artistic. And because now we're friends on Facebook, I saw some of the posts that you made of a snake skin that you actually took off of a live snake. Well, you killed it first, but then you took it. And so I want to go through, first of all, well, actually, before we get into that, why don't we do a brief sort of history of who is Lisa? And like don't get like super specific, but like kind of like, how did you grow up? I mean, clearly we already know that you live in Alabama, but you don't have a southern accent. So let's do a little a shallow dive into where Lisa came from and who Lisa is.
Okay. I came from New York State, in the country, of course, where I was born in Connecticut, not too far over the border of New York, but I was raised in New York. And then I spent growing up in the country around a lot of agriculture in the mountains and the hills. We were around the bears, the deer, snakes, poisonous snakes included. And so I got early on to see and experience wildlife and all that, what you generally get depending on what part of the country you live in. And then after that, 27 years I was in Maine, not in Maine, affiliated with Maine, but I lived up there for like 8 years. And up in Maine, they don't have poisonous snakes unless somebody has them in their possession and they get away from them. So there's a big difference from the Northeast, more northern states, versus in New York where I was raised up. And it's quite a difference, learning about, say, for instance, snakes, because there's so many different kinds. And a lot of times people will get wildlife and reptiles confused, and they get scared and do foolish things. But it's something that you learn when you're around it, especially living in the country, which, by the way, I love. I could not live anywhere else than in the country, okay? And it's just my years growing up there, just phenomenal. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And my sister and brother growing up, they had the snakes in the house as pets. And we would feed them mice and frogs. And it didn't bother me to watch because, it's just a process of life. And, just things like that. And the season changes and how things change with the seasons change. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard sometimes to describe to those that don't know about living or spending long periods of time in the country. It's just a whole nother world, And then to move down here, totally different environment for me, right along with the temperature and the wildlife and reptiles. I mean, up north we had the black bear and the cats, the bobcats and mountain cats, and we had the deer and other animals like that. But being down here, I've got wild pigs, alligators, and it seems to be more poisonous snakes here versus where I lived up and grew up in New York. So very, very big difference.
And so, have you ever lived in a city at all, ever?
No, I have never.
Have you been to one?
I have been to New York City many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't like it?
No, I did not. Too many people. It's too much noise. And it was dirty to me. And even getting in a taxi or going in the subway, it's just not for me, or getting on a bus. I'm used to driving everywhere I need to go,
And there's okay, I can imagine there's an opposite of this. Whenever I leave, because I've pretty much spent most of my life in fairly high populated areas. Mm-hmm. I mean, suburbia and cities, or a mix of the two. And whenever I left the cities to go somewhere where there was no traffic or, industry or anything like that, the air smelled different. And I was like, this is what air is supposed to smell like. So I'd imagine if you're like growing up with that smell always like as your default, when you come to a city, it's got to be pretty pungent.
The fumes, you can go to certain parts of the certain boroughs and the smells are somewhat different. But the traffic, the fuel, what do you mean? Exhaust?
Yeah.
Gives me headaches because I have allergies to different things, environmental and animals. And it can really, really change your outlook, I guess you could say. And all the noise and carrying on, and it's like wall-to-wall people. And so many strangers, But the one thing I will say, New York City's got the best food.
Okay.
Depending on where you go.
Yeah, you know what? I did want to talk to you about food at some point during this, but I think we'll save that for later. So we now you're in Alabama, and you have to deal with literally venomous snakes on your property.
Yes.
And so okay, how would you go about dealing with a venomous snake on your property? And well, I mean, like, okay, I understand why you would want to get rid of it, but when you saw this snake that you skinned, did you see it as like an opportunity to get snake skin, or did you see it as a necessary thing that you have to do to get off your property because it could cause some kind of damage to either you or any pets you may have or any livestock you may have, or anything like that? Any guests come over, you don't want them getting bit by a rattlesnake, right?
No.
So you have to get rid of it. What was the reason why you chose to dispatch it and take the skin? And I was gonna ask you if you ate it too.
Okay, first of all, you need to know how to identify a snake. I mean, they've all got different patterns. They're all lengths and sizes. Even some people go by the pupil. Some people go by the nose, whether it's like a hog nose.
Okay.
And but you have to be able to determine, and I will never approach a snake. I keep a certain distance until I am 100% sure I know what kind it is. All right?
Right.
And because I have allergies, and I do not want to ever get bit by a poisonous snake. When I came across this copperhead, it was 1 foot from my hand. And I backed up and I took a picture because I'm into taking pictures. And I moved closer to it and it didn't back away. And from my dealings with snakes, when they don't back away from you, that tells you you have to try to remove them or take them out of their misery, so to speak, because you don't want yourself or anyone else to get bit. And some hospitals don't always have the treatment for snake bites. So you also have to think of that. And this one that I killed, I did cut the head off after I shot it. And I cut the head off so many inches from the tip of the nose because you want to...
Wait, hold on 1 second. You shot it.
Yes, I had to shoot it.
Okay,
yes.
So I want to just like paint a picture for people what it's like to shoot a snake. How far away were you? Were you like prone, lying down? Did you have a sniper scope? Like I picture you like taking a picture of the snake and then going back into the house, getting your sniper rifle and coming out and making sure you got a clean headshot. Or like, where did you even shoot it?
I just have a plain .22 rifle with no scope. It's just a plain. Okay, I'm not into those heavy-duty things.
Okay.
And I got behind it a couple of feet and shot it in the head. And then it's still moving so much, I shot it again. Because you want to make sure you finish it. When you go to pick these up with your gloves on, you do not want to get bit under any circumstance.
They can bite through the gloves?
Yes, they can.
Wow.
And I don't wear those boots. I wear tall leather boots, but I don't have the snake boots that some people wear. I don't have those. So I was very careful to make sure that I got it, because then I cut the head off so far and I put it in a pail, 5-gallon pail, and then I took the snake and put it up on the tailgate of my truck on a piece of cardboard, and you turn it over and you make a cut with a really sharp knife, anything that'll cut. You slice it down from the neck down to the tail, and you have to go all the way
down the
through.
belly.
Yes, down the belly.
Okay.
And then you hold on to the body with my left hand, and with my right hand I got a hold of the skin, and I was just able to peel it right down off the body. It goes pretty fast.
So it's fairly easy. It's like
yeah.
Someone described it to me as like turning a sock inside out.
It
It's
is
that easy.
It basically is. No, I did not keep the meat because I would rather wait till it got cooler. I'm in the mode of thinking there's certain meat I'm not going to eat during the warm months because I don't want to get sick if they're carrying anything.
Okay.
The animal. That's why I don't, or reptile. That's why I'm very cautious.
So reptiles carry more harmful diseases or pathogens in the summer months than they do in the winter?
I'm not 100% sure, but for me personally, I don't want to take a chance.
Well, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be something in there somewhere. There's definitely a there. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm just cautious, you know.
And so now you have the skin, and are you thinking the whole time, like, because you know you got to get rid of the snake, so you get rid of it, and are you thinking that you're going to use the skin before you shoot it?
No. No, that's the furthest thing from my mind.
So is this the keeping and tanning of the skin? Is this something that you do regularly, or is it just kind of like you thought you could do it and you tried to do it, and this is the only time you've done it?
This is actually the first time I ever did it.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, this is awesome because I mean, if I wanted to go and do this, I would actually have to go out and find a snake. You know how hard that is? I live in the city. I could probably find one somewhere, but it's not going to be worth taking the skin for or
No.
anything like that. And you just get these ones. It shows up, you kill it, you take its skin. Okay, so now you have its skin. I guess, what did you do with the rest of it? Just compost it or something, or like feed it to the chickens?
I took it out back and put it in the woods.
Yeah, okay. So do you think like what do you... Something's going to eat that, probably.
Down here in Alabama, we have got what they call red ants, and they will strip
Oh, okay. Yeah, the ants will get it.
anything right to the bone. Right to the bone.
Okay, so now you have the skin.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do with it after that? Because I know it's not like you can just kind of like pin it to a piece of wood and let it dry. I think you have to like soak it or like do some kind. Did you have to scrape it or anything like that?
I did scrape some flesh that was on the underside that was attached to the snake. I did scrape all that off, and then I put a mixture in a 5-gallon bucket of glycerin and alcohol. And this alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, has to be at least 90 proof. And you mix equal amount of both glycerin and it's vegetable-based glycerin.
Okay.
You mix equal amounts in the container you're going to put the skin, and then you put the skin in there. And I let it soak in there for a week. And every day I would go out and stir it up with a certain stick I've got. And then I'd put the lid back on there because you want to keep it where it's cool and shaded.
Mm-hmm.
And I let it set for a week. And then I took it out and I rinsed it off with clean water. And then I patted it dry with a rag. And then I pinned it onto a long 2x4. And I let it set like that.
What did you use for the pins?
I use just stick pins. The stick pins you can get in every different color.
Oh, okay, like the sewing pins, the bobby pins? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And it's still sitting out there now. It's still drying, and I wipe it off because the glycerin helps keep it pliable, moist,
Mm-hmm.
and so it doesn't get ruined. And from what I gathered on reading, I'm no expert. I don't want anyone to think I'm an expert. This is the first time I ever did this. The alcohol, I read on a few sites, it helps with bacteria. I don't know if I could agree with that, but it does something else to the skin, which I'm not 100% familiar with. But all I know is the skin is still really soft. It's not really dried up.
Right.
So
it's not crispy.
Right. You don't want it crispy. And something with the other people get these tanning kits with a specific mixture of other things in it. I didn't do that, So But it was kind of interesting to do because it's something I never did before.
And yeah, I mean, like if you got to get rid of like an animal like that, and you might as well try to do something useful with it if you can, right?
Yes. And you
And
can make all sorts of items with the
well,
snake skin, you
that's
know?
what I was gonna ask you next. Actually, it's
Hmm.
like you're reading my mind. I was gonna
Hmm.
say, what if you do have plans for this snake skin? Clearly, you've done some research on what it is you can make with this stuff. So, do you have anything in your head like yet what you want to do with it? Because I know you can either make things out of it or you can apply it to things that are already made.
All right, the first things I'm having done is a few bracelets. It will be attached to leather with beads, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be put on that for bracelets. The other thing is, if I cut this rest that's left, if I cut it the right way, I may be able to even make a seat, cover the seat for my motorcycle with it.
Wow, it's that big?
I have two because I also have a diamondback rattle snake skin.
Oh, okay.
So between the two, I may have enough to actually redo the seat on the motorcycle. And I think that would look really cool,
It
you
would
know.
look really cool.
Yeah.
So, so I didn't. I don't even think I mentioned the fact that you have a motorcycle yet, because that's another reason why I think you're one of the most badass chicks I've ever met. You go, you go out and shoot a snake, like this is my property, snake, and then you're like, and now I'm gonna coat my seat on my motorcycle with your skin, just to let all the other snakes know around your neighborhood that this is what happens when you mess with Lisa.
I just, it's just like I said, it's something new. I like to try new things, and you can't be afraid. I cannot stress this enough. When you are in a situation and you panic, you're going to make mistakes.
Yep.
So you have to get to that certain mindset and block out specific emotion so you can, as I say, tend to business.
Right.
Otherwise you get bit, you get hurt, you could die even from it. And you remember Steve Irwin?
Mm-hmm.
He was around so many live creatures in his day, and just that one time he got hit and it killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
was
that's you know
very ironic and sad sort of situation with his death, because
yes,
he could have been killed so many times before that.
yes,
Around some of these snakes that I saw him around, at least. I remember his show.
yes.
I watched it. I thought, this guy's crazy. And he was
And
just so enthusiastic too. But he
yes,
really had a genuine appreciation for it. Um,
yes,
but I guess when you're around it so much, I guess in a way you get, I don't want to say complacent, but like maybe just like you don't think about it with the same awareness that you do when you first have to do something like that. Like
that's
take
right.
an animal out, because if you don't take it out, somebody could get really hurt or even die, especially when
Yes,
you have allergies like you do.
yes.
Um, that would be catastrophic. And so I think you did the right thing by taking out the snake. And I hope that you take pictures of what comes out of the skin, what you actually end up making,
Mm-hmm.
because that would be interesting. Do a little like update on what happened to the snake that came onto the wrong property at the wrong
Yes.
time with the wrong girl.
And
Uh,
I will add this. I purchased these tall, about 10, 12-inch tall stakes from Amazon, and you put them in the ground, and they're solar fueled. You stick them in the ground, they say about 500 feet apart or so. I ordered 20 of them 2 years ago from Amazon, and I have them all over because I have like an acre of property here. I put them all over because I have the woods. I'm pretty much surrounded by woods, so they're, the critters and reptiles are going to travel. I did not see even a rat snake, which I do pick up because they're not poisonous. I did not even see a rat snake, a corn snake, garter snake until this year, 2 years later, and it's been very humid here. And I believe it's because of the temps and humidity will also have an effect on reptiles right along with other animals on their movement. And they also know when seasons change. So they will roam around, and I can go out here at any time now. I could be walking on the lawn and step on a snake, and it could be a poisonous one because you just never know,
Yeah.
So
yeah, those boots might come in handy.
I do wear my boots a lot more because I'm telling you, I do not want to get bit. Take that chance. No way.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody wants to take the chance of getting bit by a poisonous snake. Some of them are, the venoms, there's a reason why they call it venom. It's really evil what it does inside your body, and it's apparently very painful. I've never been bit. Have you ever been bit?
I have been bit, but only, thankfully, by non-poisonous. Growing up, my sister had a red-tailed boa. She had an indigo snake, and she had king snake. And, every now and then they would bite you, but it kind of stung a little bit. But it wasn't really bad, and they're not going to put any poison in you because they're not poisonous. I mean, you get used to it, but I'm just thankful I grew up around them, and I'm not afraid. And I actually remember my mother killing a snake that came out of our stone wall. And she chopped his head off, cut him up, and put him in an old metal coffee can. And then she took him up to the woods and dumped him out. So, even my mother was not afraid, The
apple doesn't fall far from the tree, it seems.
No, I just, like I said, you can't panic. Absolutely not. You just can't.
Good advice. And I see a similarity in the respect that you give for identifying the snake first. That's like one of the most important things, but it's also one of the most important things when you're foraging for mushrooms.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to put a poisonous mushroom in your stomach.
No.
You want to make sure you know what it is before you do anything with it. And and the same rule applies to snakes, because it's a matter of life and death.
Yes, it is.
It's that extreme. There's some snakes that are completely harmless, just like there are mushrooms that are completely harmless. And then there's ones that'll kill you in 3 minutes.
Yes. And I have no problem picking up the other ones. No problem whatsoever.
Because you know how to identify them.
Yes. Pretty much so.
And were you taught that early, or is that just something that you've picked up on? You've been doing it so long now that you can basically just look at a snake and know what it is?
I was given a lot of pointers. My sister's husband, uncle, where we grew up in Hudson Valley, New York, he would go around, and my sister had been with him. He would go up behind our house and other parts and get the rattlesnakes, and he milked them for the venom for for the hospitals.
Right.
So it's something that has been with us growing up through the years, and then there was 2 other men. I think one of them passed on, maybe 2 out of the 3, that did that also. They would go specifically for the poisonous snakes to get the venom for the treatments for those that got bit.
That's actually, that's kind of a crazy job if you think about it. First of all, how do you just find snakes? They're really hard to find, especially in the woods. They like shade. They like to be cold. They hide under rocks. I mean, I guess
They,
that's where you look, but I mean, it seems like it'd be hard to find.
they also love the heat. And a lot of times, if you're around ledges, rock ledges, and that, you will see them out sunning themselves.
Hmm.
It's like water moccasin that is down here, but it's not up north. Up north, they call it cottonmouth. It's a different type, but in the same area of snake, same species, pretty much.
Okay.
The water mocks down here, as they call them, they will come up on the banks out of the water and lay in the sun, because all the snakes do like the sun, from what I gather.
Hmm.
They need a certain amount of sunlight, you know. But you'll find them anywhere where you least expect it. You may come across a snake. You know.
And also there was another pest that I remember talking to you about. Maybe this was a little bit longer ago. But you mentioned armadillos are a problem.
Oh, there is a lot of armadillos here, and some of them do carry what they call, I believe, leprosy.
I think it's listeria, but it might be leprosy. It's one of those L words. It's bad for you either way.
I thought it was something like leprosy, but I could be wrong.
Whatever
yes,
it is, we don't want it.
But there are people that eat armadillo.
Yeah, I've heard that. Have you ever had it?
No.
Have you ever had to
No.
get rid of one?
Yes. Yes, I have. And they're so cute to me.
And why did you have to? Is it because of the disease that you're worried about, or are they destructive?
They're very destructive. They will dig 2-foot holes in the ground, and they're like scavengers for bugs and stuff. And they will, if you have gardens, they will decimate a garden that you've got. So putting up fences is not going to deter them.
And do you have to use different ammo for an armadillo? Because they got like that armor, right?
That armor, that's, I don't believe that.
I'm kind of kidding, yeah.
Yeah, 22 didn't work for it. It's kind of tough, their hide. So I had to use something a little more.
And is there anything that we can do with, like, does anyone save the armadillo skin?
I have no idea.
I've never seen it either, and I have no idea also. I'm just asking random questions a lot of these times. What I want to do right now is get back into some more tunes for a couple minutes, and I got to refill my drink, empty my ashtray.
All right.
And then I want to talk about your motorcycle a little bit, and also I want to talk about oh yeah, I can't forget. Don't let me forget about the pecan trees.
Oh yes.
Because we want to talk about that, and as you can see, these are all things we would want to know how to do in a prepper's mindset, at least in my opinion. But they're not like the mainstream prepper topics. It's like, what's the best knife to have, or what's the best gun to have, or what's the best food to store. I want to get into like things like, I mean, I maybe have talked about this before, but like things you wouldn't think about, like lock picking, or tanning a snake skin, or having to get rid of, knowing what certain pests do and what to do and how to get rid of them. And also sorry, Zoe's, I don't know what's into Zoe today.
Oh, she's okay. She's so cute.
She is really liking the show, I guess, and wants to get a word in edgewise, but she can't because she doesn't know how to use her words properly yet, and she's testing me, I'll tell you that. So and I'm gonna play this song. This is for Zoe because it's gonna be another one I think you suggested, and there's a few more songs on this playlist that you suggested, but I've mixed them up a little bit. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into the motorcycle a little bit. And you're listening to Polynation Broadcast, and Lisa's with us in the greenhouse. She can kill a snake and make a bracelet out of its skin, or even stick it on her motorcycle seat, and that's what you get if you're a snake on Lisa's property. This is Ground Zero Plus, Polynation Broadcast, and we're live. Be right back, folks. It's Polynation Broadcast. We're live every weekend from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That is, time zones, not my responsibility. You do the math. You can do it. And anyways, if you just click on the Ground Zero Plus schedule, I'm pretty sure it just tells you, like, in relation to what your time zone is, that all the shows are on. And speaking of that schedule, my shows are actually not... They're being replayed on Tuesdays and Thursdays in their entirety now. It's a greenhouse upgrade. Don't ask me how that happened. The greenhouse has roots of its own, and they're working behind the scenes as we speak. And so shows will be replayed in their entirety, as opposed to what used to happen, which was, and maybe still does happen sometimes, where they just give you a little teaser, a tidbit, or a timbit, as we like to say in Canada. And we're chilling today in the greenhouse with Lisa, who has basically, I'm pretty sure she's only missed one show. And there's only, that one show that she missed was because of something that we're going to talk about way later in the show. Or at least before we leave. But for now, if Lisa's still on the line, I'm pretty sure she is. You still here, Lisa?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Because I want to talk about your motorcycle.
Oh, boy.
Because I know, like, okay, as if you aren't badass enough that you go out, assassinate snakes off your property and use them to potentially cover the seat on your motorcycle. So my first question is, what kind of motorcycle do you have?
Okay. This is a 2004 Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic.
Oh my goodness. Okay, and my next question is, before we get into the details of the bike, is when did you learn how to ride one? And, like, I mean, my parents wouldn't let me learn how to ride one because they think they're dangerous. And, like, someone's, you know, you're going to hit a pothole and that's it. You're done. Did you learn at a young age, or is this something you picked up later on in life?
I did not learn how to drive a motorcycle until 2019.
Wow.
Yes.
So there you go. Anyone can learn how to drive a motorcycle.
Yes.
So anyone considering driving a motorcycle that doesn't, you know, has never had any experience, I'm asking for a friend here, what advice would you give them?
Take a safety course on driving a motorcycle. That is the first thing I did.
How did that go?
That went very well. My late husband, who passed away 2.5 years ago, he bought me a little Harley-Davidson Street 500, which is purple. It was black. I had it painted purple. And I started driving here around the yard, and I almost went over the hill into the road. Because you can get confused with, on the handlebar, on the left is your clutch, left side. On the right is your front brake and the throttle to give it gas.
Right.
So I got confused.
Oh, that's not good.
No, and I almost went over the hill. But I was able to refocus my attention and get it so I didn't go over the hill or hit a telephone pole here in the yard. But it's, you know, you have to learn how to work your hands and feet like driving a standard vehicle. It's a little different. And the reason I chose a trike is because of my balance. I don't think I could even balance a bicycle. So with a trike, you don't have to worry about it, but you also have to remember that your motorcycle is wider because you've got the extra tires on the rear. You know, So you've got to keep that in mind too if you're going around an intersection or whatnot. You don't want to go up on the, what do you call it? Those things in the road.
The median.
There you go. Or on
Yeah.
sidewalks when you're you don't want, so you've got to remember that you have extra width to you too,
Right.
you know. But yeah, I started on the small one, a Street 500, and then I graduated up to drive this big one, which now weighs approximately 800 pounds.
Wow.
And
what kind of maintenance do you have to do on a bike like that?
every 5,000 miles, I take it to my motorcycle mechanic, and he does all the maintenance on it to keep it up to par. Same
So far, every how many thousand miles?
every 5,000.
5,000. Okay. And
Yes.
how many times have you had to take it to the mechanic for that?
I think about 4 times because
Oh, wow.
I drive this pretty much every time I go out unless I've got to do really heavy shopping. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I gathered from that. You must drive it a lot to have it that, since 2019,
Yes.
done that many times. So you ride a lot.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And so I guess what I wanted, because I've never gone to I've never got my motorcycle license or my driver's license for that matter. I just never went and got it because, living in the city, it's twice as much more expensive to have that expense than it is to just use a bicycle or public transit. And so I just never really had a use or, well, to be quite honest, enough money to support a vehicle of any kind. But I've always thought that motorcycles would be really, really fun. And once because I mean, 2019, that's only like 6 years ago. You'd never been on driven a motorcycle yourself up until that point. What was it about the motorcycle that got you, like, putting so many miles on this thing?
I think a lot of it has to do with, I'm pretty frugal, basically all around, and I can get close to 50 miles to the gallon with this motorcycle, the trike. And so that's why I choose to take that out, and I do take my vehicles out, my pickup. I have pickup trucks,
Of course you do.
but I just enjoy having the air around you. And yes, like once a week, I may come across people, may get in accidents, but so far so good. That's not going to deter me from still taking it out. It's just something about, even if you ride on the back of one, it's just, you either like it or you don't. And I happen to absolutely love it. And it's very good therapy for me. And
Yeah, let's dive a little deeper into that therapy aspect of it, because that's kind of like there was a book that I kind of dabbled with when I was very young in high school, called Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And there's some principles in that book that a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, I mean, they don't directly refer to the principles in this book, but they do sort of speak about something that, like, it's just something different about being on a motorcycle than it is being in a car. You're still traveling, but it's, I guess, like what you said, like the open air and the meditation aspect of it. That's what I want to ask you about. Like, some people have a problem with meditation. I know there's a lot of people in the greenhouse actually that are really good at meditating. I've never been able to do it without falling asleep. And what I used to tell people is that when I walk, especially if it's for a long distance, that's my form of meditation. And a similar thing happens when I go for a long bike ride. But it's more with a bike ride, a lot of your mental focus is like on what your body's capable of doing for a certain amount of time, whereas on a motorcycle you don't really have to think about that because you're not the one powering the motorcycle, it's the gasoline. And so I'm wondering if there's a correlation, in your opinion, between traveling, like just moving through space-time, and meditation. And because for me, I think that makes it easier because then I don't fall asleep. And the last thing you want to do on a motorcycle is fall asleep, right?
Yes, and also with the motorcycle, some people, like say for instance, you're coming up to a corner, they will focus on something that doesn't pertain to the road, and you can go right off straight. So you also have to really pay attention to your surroundings when you're going down the road, whatever road it may be. But just taking everything in, I mean, it's just totally opposite.
It forces you to be hyper aware.
Yes, but it's also in my way, it's a form of different type of meditation.
Well, I can see the similarity because a lot of meditation, when it's been described to other people, is that you're hyper aware of your now, your body, and everything that's happening now. And
Yes.
when you're on a motorcycle, I suppose it almost forces you to be like that.
Yes. Yes. Because, you don't have the protection surrounding you like you would have if you were in a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to be very much more aware of your surrounding.
Yeah, you have to be aware of what other people's awareness is, even.
Yes.
Like, cars
Yes.
don't see you, and, like, you're not as visible as a car on the road. And so you have to take that in consideration when you're
Yes.
driving on a vehicle that's much smaller. But one of the other questions I wanted to ask you about this vehicle is it loud?
Very, very
Yeah.
loud.
Oh, good. That's badass.
And what the saying is, loud pipes save lives.
Yeah. Yeah, so why is that why they put them on Honda Civics now?
That could be. I don't know.
Like, I get angry when I hear those on cars that literally you could flick with your finger and they'd fly off the road. But with a bike, it's more understandable because you want people to know you're there. And that's something that terrifies me about this whole EV technology, because they're making EV bikes too. They don't make any noise. So now you're like literally a tenth the size of a car, as far as visual acuity goes, to other cars, and you don't make a single sound. And you go a lot faster than the cars. Someone's going to change lanes in front of you and not see you there. And, I mean, that's all it takes. Boom, you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Your grandkids inherit your bike or whatever it is, if it survived that crash, So, I don't know. I think I just wanted to talk about this for a little bit because kind of the whole point of, well, at least for me, bringing people in from the greenhouse is that we have some badass people in the greenhouse that know the important things to know about, and maybe they're not experts on anything, but they know enough to get things done. And I just think that's cool, and I wanted to share that, and I also want to put it out there that anybody who's in the greenhouse for these shows, if you think you have something that you could like add to any of the conversations that we have here, post them in the greenhouse, in the chat. I'm trying to pay attention to it as much as I can. It's a little bit crazy today because it's going so quick. But that being said, don't be afraid to put in your 2 cents because no one judges anybody here, and it's just a chill vibe. So you've got so far. Because now that you have that we all know you have a bike, your badass level has gone up another 2 points. But here's something else that I wanted to talk about too, because you know how to work the land, at least from what I've heard. You've got pecan trees I don't know how common these are in your area. I certainly have never even seen one in real life. But pecans are some of my favorite nuts to eat. And whenever I eat a nut, I can't help but think that everything that I'm putting in my mouth is going to be a tree one day if I don't eat it. And then I eat it anyways because it's really good. And maybe that's why they make so many of them. But you have pecan trees on your property, don't you?
Yes.
And you know how to process them. Like,
Well,
do you eat them?
yes, I eat them. I've just gotten into that a few years back now. I have 4 here, 2 of which are really, really old, but they're still producing nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 2 are younger and in better shape. And I only pick a certain amount, and the rest I leave for animals. And what I don't use, I put back out for the animals. Because I also think of the animals. They have to eat too, you know, and I have utmost respect for animals and reptiles and all that.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a pretty solid connection with nature.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you're allowing the pecan tree to do what it's supposed to do, which is feed its environment and all the people or critters that live in it. So you had a pretty good crop this year, didn't you?
Yes, and I'm still gathering them up.
And so what do you normally do with them? What's your go-to?
A lot of them I freeze.
Really?
And then, yes, you can freeze them. I have had some that have been froze for a year. And then I thaw them out, and they taste pretty darn good still.
Wow.
You know, yeah. Certain nuts you can freeze. Others don't fare so well when you do. And then I think other people, they may, what do you call it? With the, seal them up.
Oh, the vacuum sealer? Yeah.
There it is. A lot of people may do that, or just put them in jars. And maybe some people put those little dry packs in there. You know, depending on where you're going to store them, because you don't want the moisture and all when you're going to put food up, you know. So you got to be very careful how you store a lot of things that you gather up.
And so, okay, take us through the process of, like, what happens after the nut falls off the tree. Then what do you do with it?
Okay, I go up and pick them up with my hands. There's a gadget you can get, roll on the ground.
Yeah, after you killed all the snakes.
Yep. I don't have a gadget. I pick them up by hand.
Okay.
And I have to have the grass cut a certain height so it's easier to see them. You know, and I just gather them up, and then I go through them to see if there's any holes in it from bugs or anything, you know, insects, anything like that. And I toss them back out in for the animals to get. Because I don't think the animals are all that fussy. They just want something to eat, you know.
Right. Whereas in the greenhouse, we have standards.
Yes. And then I dry them up, and I start taking the hull off.
Okay, what do you mean by dry them up?
I put them in long trays with holes in the bottom.
Okay, like a drying rack?
Like that on a table, and I dry them, and then I start.
Is that done in the oven?
No, I let them dry with the natural air.
Oh, so outside?
Yes, always outside. You got airflow. You want to have airflow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long do you let them dry for?
About 2 weeks.
Wow, that's a long time. So do you have like a setup for this? Like some kind of a drying rack that's like stacked up and you know what I mean?
Actually, I put them in my 2 little greenhouses and leave the doors open, and they're on the tables in there.
Oh, okay.
So, and I also use my garage building on tables out there.
So you have, like, if you've got that many tables, you've obviously got a lot of them. So you let them dry out for 2 weeks. And what happens after that?
Then I will decide what I'm going to use to eat right away. and the other ones I have put them in bags with the moisture, those little moisture packets,
Yep.
and the freezer. I'll bag them up and get all the air out and double bag and put them in the freezer. I don't use the seal a meal thing when I put them in the freezer. I don't do that for them. I do that for other type of food.
Okay.
You know?
So you're actually, from what it sounds like, interested or at least somewhat educated in the preservation of foods.
Somewhat. I am somewhat, yes. I don't know everything there is. I just know what works for me and what I've done for years.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In my opinion,
That's right.
When you use these pecans, do you just like eat them raw, or do you ever make anything out of them?
I eat them raw. I add them to roast. I even grind them up and put them in eggs, breakfast
Oh,
food.
that sounds interesting.
I've put them on pancakes and waffles. I add them to everything.
Have you ever made flour or anything like that with them?
No, but I believe you can do that with them.
I was gonna ask. I don't even know if you can, but I don't have pecan trees where I live. I mean, pecans are like usually something I get in. Everybody knows pecan pie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I gotta ask. I guess. Have you ever made that with them?
No, I don't like pecan pie.
What?
No.
Why?
Nope. I don't like it. Never did. I've tried it.
You don't have a sweet tooth.
I cut so far back on sugar.
Lisa's too badass to have a sweet tooth. What am I talking about?
And it also helps keep my weight down, depending on what I eat. So.
Oh right. That makes sense, because the smaller your butt, the less snakeskin you need to cover your seat.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, okay. This is awesome. I'm having so much fun. I hope you are too, Lisa. Because
this is a lot of fun.
There's still some tunes that you picked out. I've picked out some tunes for you too, and I hope you recognize some of them. Most likely you do. But there's one more important thing that I want to talk to you about. But what I want to do before we do that is get back into some music that'll take us to like shouting out the greenhouse at 4:20 p.m. on groundzeroplus.com. We'll listen to some tunes until then, and then we'll shout out the greenhouse and thank everybody for being here, and then we'll get into what I really want to get into, which is going back to when I said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well,
yes,
you also had an apple that didn't fall far from your tree, and I want to talk about that and give it as much attention as we possibly can, because it ties in with food and being badass and prepping and all the stuff we like to talk about on Polynation broadcast. So I picked out some Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young for you. I figured you'd like this tune. It's called Ohio. And when we come back, we'll talk about, what I just said. Except I'm not going to tell you until we come back, because I got to keep the suspense. I'm all learning. Still growing. We all grow at different rates. Remember that. This is the Polynation broadcast. Here's CSNY Ohio. GroundZeroPlus.com. It's the Polynation broadcast. We're live every weekend from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on GroundZeroPlus.com. And we're chilling in the greenhouse today with Lisa. And we're a bit late. Whatever. Not a big deal. 421 is 422. And 422 is also 422. Anyways. Before PPP, everybody, if you know what I'm saying. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut out the greenhouse and then talk about some, what I would call genetic connection to nature. So here we go. In the greenhouse today, groundzeroplus.com. Become a member. It's only $5 a month right now. For limited time, you can get in. Just try it for a month. You'll see. You'll love it. You'll be like, I'm coming back. And then you'll be like, why am I coming back every month when I can just get the yearly? And that, you know what? Bob's your uncle. So, here we go. Sensei Chris is in there. We got Mitch Durbin. We got, of course, our guest Lisa is in there. We have Mike Montz in there. He's going to be a future guest on the show. I guarantee it. It's just a matter of time. I'll talk about next week in a second. We also have Des in here. Good to see you. Sonny's in here. We got Eric. We got Barbani's in here. A guest on last week's show. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on my YouTube somewhere, I think. Type in the number 1 Polynation YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. Alvarez is in there. Good to see you, bud. We got Datsun Focus. 181, bro. Keep it up. We got Mad Catter in there. Marvelous Matthew. Good to see you again. And Rich Smith, also Discord, brother. And hopefully future guest. Depending on what we're allowed to talk about, Rich, if you're listening. And everybody who's not in the chat room and listening only, thank you for listening. We're going to get back into some more about Lisa. And it gets into the saying about the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, Lisa, you had an apple, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And so why don't we talk about that for a little bit? You don't have to get too detailed about it, but let's explain to people about your. I guess is this the only kid you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one daughter.
Okay,
Yes.
let's talk about your daughter for a second, and then we'll get into what the reason. You know where I'm going with this, but let's paint it out for people.
Okay, I have one daughter. She lives in New York in the Hudson Valley, and her husband run and operate a 4th generation vegetable farm. They also, in the fall, they have pumpkin picking, which they grow. And they also have an apple orchard with over 30 varieties of apples.
30.
Yes, over 30.
Wow.
Yes. And they've got close to 70 different varieties of pumpkins. And they also grow the winter squash that you could put up for cold storage. It's difficult to do down here. She has shipped some to me, but I had to keep them in the house because it doesn't pan out in certain locations, for cold storage.
Were they good though?
Oh, excellent. Excellent, because I can't get the same winter squash down here.
Oh, right. So you missed that. You missed that stuff, right?
I grew up on all that.
Right.
The corn is picked fresh every day, every single day at the farm. And I'm gonna, what do you call it? They've got, let's see. They do fall decorations, the squash. They have the pumpkin picking and hay rides. And in the field where they grow them, everybody that goes there gets to see everything, where everything is grown. In the apple orchard, where all the veggies are, and they'll be open until the last day of October.
Hey, I don't know if you heard my show yesterday, but I just have to ask this question. Do they have pigs that walk around and eat all the apples that fall off the ground and they're not good for selling? Just to
No.
to make some really nice bacon.
No, they don't have pigs up there. No. No.
Okay, so I want to get back into more of the farming stuff in a second, but I want to bring it back to because when we talked off the air, and maybe this is getting a bit too personal, but I don't think so. It's not like your daughter set out to be a farmer, is it?
No, she did not. No.
So if you don't mind sharing that story, I think that would be very interesting for people, because I think it's proof that because you have that connection with nature and were brought up with it, that you pass that on to your daughter, and it just kind of remained dormant in some kind of a thing, and then all of a sudden she was aware of it. Like, I mean, to me, it's an interesting story. So I'd like you, if you can, explain it.
Okay, on my father's side, going back many generations, they were all farmers. And my daughter ended up dating a young man from this farming family, and which we grew up with next door, believe it or not, in the little hamlet town we lived in. And they ended up getting married after graduating high school. And she realized that she really enjoyed growing food and being outside and tending to everything like that. And here we are now. Her and her husband are running the farm, and it's a little over 200 acres. And they're doing so well.
Have we said the name of the farm yet?
Dykeman Farm.
Dykeman Farm.
Yes.
If anyone listening in New York or anywhere close to that, do they have a website? Do they ship?
Yes. I don't think they ship, but they do have a website. It's dykemanfarm.com.
Cool. Yeah, I've actually been to the website. It looks really, like, if I'm ever in that area, I'm definitely going to stop by and I'm going to say, "Hey, I know your mom."
And my daughter actually designed the sign they have up out front. And they have that new sign up, and they've redone a lot of different things there now. And they do, they donate food to certain organizations, and they're well involved in the agriculture communities in all the different counties. And they also do farm-to-table dinners locally.
And is it, would you say it's organic?
They're pretty much organic, yes. I mean, there are some things that you have to use certain things with.
Yeah, I get that.
But for the most part, they are organic. And they're New York State certified registered. So, I mean, they've gone through all the regulations and passed everything with flying colors. So, and they're open July through October. And they start the seedlings and everything like in February. So they actually are working from February through the end of October.
And when they have like a surplus, do they have a way of preserving it, or multiple ways of preserving it? Like, I know you can freeze a lot of stuff, but do they do anything like jarring or canning or making pickles or fermentations of anything like that? Do they do anything like that?
No, but there are a lot of people. They only preserve certain items because of space and abundancy. There's just so much food. You can't save it all, But they also get things from other people that are fresh made, that they do sell there at the farm, including local honeys, So, I mean, they're doing very well. They do have the cider and donuts and things like that with the pumpkin season.
Right.
And there's certain things that they do make right there, like donuts and breads they do right there. So,
okay, I guess that there's one more thing I wanted to ask you about as well. And if, again, Dykeman Farm, if anyone, go check out their website at least and see what they're doing, because it's going to be farms like this that, in my opinion, everything's going to get very local very soon, because the cost and the tariffs and everything else and all the shipping, people are just going to have to figure out a way to get it either themselves or know somebody that knows how to get it and trade with them or buy it from them. That's the way I see things going. If you look at, I mean, I don't mean to like paint a dark picture in the greenhouse, but if you look at everything that's going on, that's kind of the way it's kind of the way things are going. So you want to either be able to, like, I mean, a farm is also a seed bank, right? Think about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna have their own, like, if there's, I'm wondering, it would be interesting to ask them, if when you talk to them next, maybe you could ask them this for us in the greenhouse, is
Hmm.
with over 30 different kinds of apples, and yeah, okay, 200 acres is that's vast. That's a big chunk of land, but 30 different kinds of apples. I wonder if they're like, do they play around with cross-pollinating apples?
I can't answer that. I just know that had they they chose certain variety and they put them in, and they've been going ever since. I don't know is they're really into crossing any of the trees. I have no idea. You know.
Well, next time you just promise us next time you see them or talk to them that you'll ask about that.
Yes, I
Because
will.
when you come back, you can give us an update not only on the snakeskin, whatever happens to the snakeskin, uh, but you can give us an update on whether or not there is that sort of thing going on with apples.
Hmm.
And
Yes, I will.
that would be cool.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Because I know they do that with other things like tomatoes and stuff. So I mean, why not? I mean, scale it up to trees. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that I will ask them next time I talk to my daughter.
Amazing. So, okay, I guess here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna end it, and I'll play the rest of. Somebody suggested Little Feat, and I haven't heard the song by Little Feat, but I'm gonna play. It's called Dixie Chicken. Do you know who Little Feat is?
I've heard a Little Feat, but I never heard a Dixie Chicken.
Yeah, me neither. So I put that in there. Also, I forgot to mention this. In the chat room, you knew about Jimi Hendrix playing the left-handed guitar or the right-handed guitar upside down.
Yes.
Like, how did you know that?
I've been following Jimi Hendrix since I was a teenager.
And so you knew that he even stringed it differently and did like all kinds of other weird stuff with his from what I read, did you know he invented the some of the phase pedals and other effects pedals that you can use on your guitar?
Yep. Yes, I did. He experimented quite a bit with all of that because he wanted to bring about a totally different sound.
Yeah.
To go together with his guitar playing. To me, he was about the best guitarist ever.
Well, I gotta. He's up there definitely. I don't know if I can ever say that there's one ever because there maybe wasn't there. There might be one that hasn't been born yet. But I mean, so far, there's like he's in the top 3 for me at least. Hendrix was off the charts amazing. It's okay. This has been one of the funnest shows that I've done in a really long time. Just chilling and talking to somebody who's real and who has what I would say is it kind of valuable information if you're into being any sort like in having independence when the government doesn't have the resources to save you. It's not because it doesn't want to, just it won't be able to. And you're going to have to do a lot of things for yourself. And I find a lot of people in the greenhouse listening also do this sort of same thing. So, and I do want to thank you, Lisa, for coming on and sharing all the crazy stuff that happens down in Alabama that you have to deal with. And making something useful out of it. And hopefully people got something out of this that was I mean we've always seen you in the greenhouse, and what I'd like to do is when you chat with somebody a lot in the greenhouse but you don't know what they sound like, after you hear what they sound like, whenever you chat with them again, you can hear their voice, and it makes it. I don't know, for some reason that's a detail that I pay attention to, and it makes a difference to me. So, thank you, Lisa, for coming on.
And I need to thank you so very much for having me on. This has been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, good. I'm really glad we got things sorted out, because I thought maybe we were gonna have to reschedule it, but we got it worked out, and it ended up being great. And so, yeah, let's play this out. I got some more tunes that I picked just for you, Lisa. Thanks again for coming on. This has been another Psychedelic Sunday with Lisa from the Greenhouse on the Polynation broadcast, groundzeroplus.com. Here's some Doobie Brothers, because I need it.
Thank you again, Polly.
You're very welcome.